Waddle, who comes to us as a master's student in biological sciences in the School of Life Sciences, and he is going to slam on the topic of overcoming the amphibian extinction crisis.
So I'm going to get right to it. Why study amphibians? Why should we care? This last year, it was shown that a protein in the mucus of a frog could bind to and destroy the H1N1 flu virus. Cool, right? But amphibians are facing pathogens of their own, and one of note that is the most detrimental is called Batrachochytrium dendrobititis, or I've shortened it as BD for all of our sakes. It causes this disease, chytridiomycosis, which destroys the integrity of the amphibian skin and ultimately leads to their death. The pathogen that causes this disease has spread to every continent where amphibians occur, and it continues to spread to new sites and has been implicated as a major explanatory factor for the declines of hundreds of species. And despite those studies, people studying this disease, there have been many well-documented extinctions. And one of those of note is the golden toad. And this was the most common amphibian species in the cloud forests of Costa Rica. This was like the pigeon of Costa Rica, okay? And in 1 year after the pathogen arriving, it was driven to extinction. And despite decades of research on this topic, there's no broadly applicable disease mitigation strategy. And that's where my research comes in. I'm currently studying how we might use immunizations to improve the survivorship of frogs in the wild. And how an immunization works is you give the host something that's similar enough to the pathogen that their immune system can recognize it and then respond and protect them from a subsequent exposure. And my preliminary work shows that this might work, at least for the species here in southern Nevada. And my hope is that we can use this research and expand it to the hundreds of other species that have been impacted. And I want to bring this back to why we should care. And I summarize this in 3 main points. And this is like my elevator talk to my congressperson. If I was stuck in an elevator with them first, I'd be like, all right, we should care about amphibians because of aesthetics. There are 7,000 species of amphibians, and they're really adorable. And if that's not enough for them, I'm going to be like, all right, stewardship. My generation might see half of all species on Earth go extinct. That's not acceptable to me. I hope it's not acceptable to you. And then last, there is already public and political support for this. People like biodiversity, and that's evident with things like the Endangered Species Act. That's the most powerful piece of conservation legislation ever drafted. And I would implore him to support that document so we can keep amphibians on this planet for generations to come. And I want to leave you with a hypothetical, and it refers back to my intro. In the early 1900s, the Spanish flu infected 500 million people, and tens of millions of people died. What if something like that emerged today? And the cure for it was hidden an amphibian that we allowed to go extinct. Thank you.